Another emotion that I want to highlight is I was very resentful. I was like, I just could not believe this was happening to me.
Your sense of safety and how your foundation had been shattered.
It had been. What I thought was security that we had built together was false. Did not exist.
That must have been painful when you came to that realization.
Yeah.
So, with all this happening, the emotions, what kind of conclusions were you making about how you were feeling? About everything? Because now you've gone past the realization. You now know that there's betrayal. You can't trust that this person will meet your needs the way you expect it to. And now your body is suffering. You're struggling emotionally. Concentration is limited. What is the next step with all this? And you do have children to take care of.
I do.
So how does this even play out?
2 parts. The first thing I tried to do was again to fix it. I was going to go out there, develop me, and I think I said that earlier, it met some resistance. And when I realized that was not, I couldn't make that happen because of the proximity that I had with this man. If we're going to experience any resemblance of what I considered a normal life, it was necessary to make an exit.
Wow.
And that was one of the most difficult decisions of my life, because I suddenly came to a realization that I couldn't fix this.
So for a fixer, for once you can't fix it.
I cannot fix this.
There must have been a lot of grieving that went with that. Because when you've done something so well and you've been known for it, and this is how you define yourself, and then this most important thing doesn't work out, it must have been devastating.
It was. It was life.
So you decided to do what?
So I had gone to a lawyer 8 years prior. And I told the lawyer I wanted to get an apartment. I just needed some distance. I wasn't ready to divorce or anything like that. I just needed some distance from whatever it is I was experiencing at that time. And one of the good things that I always did was, regardless of what was going on in my life, I always met with a professional. Any decision that I wanted to take, I'm going to talk to an expert about it. This is what I want to do based on your expertise and your experience in the industry. What do you think about it? So what I was going to do then was rent an apartment. I had 2 boys then. I had not had my girl. I have 3 kids now. And then, of course he was going to know where I live, but I just wanted, to be separated physically from him. Yes. And she said I couldn't do that. If I leave my children with him, I could be accused of negligence. If I take them with me, I could be accused of kidnapping. So 2 things I could do. One was to file for legal separation, or the other was to file for a divorce. When I was thinking about it, I found out I was pregnant. So that put a stop to that, because I didn't want this new child to come into the world without a unit, a family with the father and the mother. So this time around, I was clear. I did not want a legal separation. I wanted out. I wanted a clean slate. Interestingly, I did tell him that, based on a lot of things which I do not want to disclose here, that I wasn't in good conscience, did not want to continue to be his wife. We're going to start on a clean slate. I was open to starting, afresh, dating again, doing the whole process. But I was going to divorce him.
Interesting. So you were thinking maybe in the future
We can still.
this is the fixer
We can
business.
still make it
We can
work.
be together. But for now,
With
you
it.
felt so
Right.
so much was going on, and that's what
Right.
you need to do. Very difficult decision.
It is.
The fact that you even had talked about the possibility of getting back together
We did. I
at the
did.
point of divorce
Right.
says something about how much you really were, how much you cared for him, and how much
I
you
did.
invested
Yes.
in your marriage.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did.
So you made that decision, and obviously he was not
No.
happy about it.
The divorce process was the most acrimonious process that we ever went through.
And a lot of couples will say that because there's a thin line between love and hate. So when people have deeply invested so much in each other, so many years, any kind of separation
Yes.
can be very stressful on the family
Yes.
and very difficult. They used to say that family court is where you see the best people at their worst. Now, putting that, just moving forward, how are you able to get to where you are now? Did you start focusing on, how did you move with your emotions? How did that evolve? There was the anger, the helplessness, the resentfulness. What ended up happening with you emotionally and physiologically?
My emotions were very intense, to the point they were paralyzing. I could not do. I was filled with so much rage. I think I was more angry at myself than I was at him, because I realized that I was a co-creator of this mess that I was in. I let it happen to me. At least that's my conviction. And so I think the anger, a lot of it was towards him, obviously, but I think a big chunk of it was towards me too. But I needed to process through it and find a solution.
The fixer.
The fixer. There has to be a solution to that. And so, like I always do, the first thing I did was to get a therapist. I gave the therapist what my goals were. And we spent the next 3 years. I went every week. Not every day. I went every week to see my therapist. We set new goals, And then I also went to a group therapy. It's called Divorce Care for anybody out there. It's a great program.
Divorce Care.
Divorce Care. It's a fantastic program. I recommend it for anybody going through. I also did that. I read a lot of books. First of all, I needed to understand how I got here. Even though I knew that I was a co-creator of what I did, what exactly could I have done better? So all that, and then of course my children, I needed to be in the right frame of mind to be present for them and have the necessary tools to also recognize that they also went through this trauma with me.
With you.
And to be able to assist them to also go through their own processes. So yeah, I think it was, again, the fixer in me. This is where we are. What do we do?
What are we going to do about it?
Right.
But I think what was unique is this time around, different from what you experienced in your marriage, you were actually receiving from people now.
I was.
And you were humble and made yourself vulnerable to listening to another person's perspective
Yes.
and sharing your pain with others who are going through the same thing.
Yes.
And for anybody who is struggling there with betrayal, some people have experienced molestation, abuse, family members. Some people have experienced being called names and treated differently. Whatever that is, you went out to look for healthy ways to manage this.
Yes, I did.
And you realized that even though your anger was justified, it needed a place to go, and you worked through it. Was that journey difficult, or was it easy, or can you give some,
There's nothing that's easy about this process.
Even the recovery, even after you made up your mind?
The recovery it is worth it, but there is nothing easy about, trying to process through a trauma. It's one thing to go to your therapist to pour yourself out and be vulnerable. It's another thing to go back and do the homework. When they give you the tools of what to do, you have to go. And that process is excruciating.
The practicing of it.
It's painful.
But what made you keep at it?
Because this cannot be my final destination.
Wow. So this is for anybody out here. This is not the end of my story.
To accept that this is the end of my story. I have made a huge mistake of my life, but this cannot be my destination.
My goodness. This is just passing through.
This is just passing through.
So whatever it's going to take.
And it doesn't define who I am.
I love it.
I am just going through.
But as you were going through, you were crying through it?
Oh, I cried. I am grateful for my girlfriends. You all know who you are. There will be days that I will just pick up the phone and just